Hey there, this is Natalie, and I wanted to thank you for checking out To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. I am very excited because recently I celebrated the podcast's first birthday. And what better way to celebrate than to try and build up this community of tolerators and gather them all in one space. To do that, I launched our Patreon where you can make a monthly contribution to the podcast and get some amazing benefits like early access to episodes, ad-free episodes, some virtual hangout time with me and other tolerators, and other ways to really allow us to get to know one another. Any support that you can give to the podcast will be so helpful in the second year to help me elevate the content and grow our community. There is a link in the show notes that contains all the information you need to help the podcast grow. I love and appreciate every one of you. Happy birthday, Team Tolerator. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, and I wanted to give you all a heads up about our episode this week. This week, we released one of our live episodes from Fireside. You can catch To All the Men I've Tolerated Before on the new platform Fireside every other Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, there might be a couple differences between our Fireside episodes and our usual format. These episodes are a great way for myself and my guests to go deeper into the topics we cover and to do some fun activities with them. So you'll hear things like audience participation, laughing emojis, and applause when the audience was digging it. Do you want to join in on the fun? Make sure that you're following us at firesidechat.com/Natalie Katona. Have fun, tolerators.
Created live on Fireside.
Oh my gosh, did I already turn on my video? It told me it would give me a preview. Hi, everyone. While we wait for this last minute, I'm just going to start saying hi to people because I'm so excited to see some of you. So let's go ahead and mute the wait bot, even though that was some jazzy music. You didn't see me on camera, but I was shoulder wagging. Hi, Stephanie. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Sammy. Kelly, I miss you so much. Thank you for coming from out of town. Hi, Caitlin. Hi, Katie. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Trina. Welcome, everybody, to the first ever live episode of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. I can see that Stephanie's already figured out how to use her reactions. Let me just clap for myself. But everyone has little reactions on their little emojis. We all know emojis. We're young, we're hip. And that is not only where you can clap for me, because let's not forget that I am like Tinkerbell, and without applause, I will perish. I will perish. But it's also where you can send in questions if you don't want a mic on, or comments, or, I don't know, clap back to our jokes. I am one of those people who on Instagram, if you have a really great story and I have a really great follow-up joke to your story, I will DM you my response to your story. So feel free to do that here too, because I can see it. I think. Yeah, I can see it. All right. Well, we're going to get started. It's just now after 8. Welcome everyone to the first ever live show of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. And tonight is Meet Team Tolerator night. So we have some of our amazing guests from season 1 who are going to be joining me shortly. But before that happens, let's start with where Team Tolerator and To All the Men I've Tolerated Before originated, for some of you who may be new because you found me on Fireside. So about 2 years ago, I can't believe that it's almost been 2 years, or it's probably over 2 years. Time is a construct. I was unemployed. And for years I had been sitting in bars, making fun of that Netflix show to all the boys I've loved before, saying, well, if I was to pen my next great novel or my next great talk show or whatever, it would be called To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. And finally, because of unemployment and having the time to do it, I started a podcast. And the podcast is a way for me, friends, other women, other people in this collective energy to talk about what it is to tolerate this patriarchal, misogynistic, capitalistic 2022 and beyond that we find ourselves living in, and to have a little comedic brevity to it. So we've covered things all the way from losing my virginity to men who mentored me and took an interest in me so I could be successful. We talk about them, we have some honesty, and then we talk about our greatest growth moment, and then we manifest a little bit about what we're hoping for in the future. And that's every week, and each episode of the podcast drops on Thursday. There's a link in the fortune cookie where it says find everything Team Tolerator. That is our link tree. That's how you'll find us on Instagram, Apple, Spotify, all of the podcast platforms. But without further ado, I think I'm going to start inviting my season 1 guest onto stage so I can kind of take a backseat for a moment and just start bragging about them. So I'm going to go in the order of the little icons that I can see on here. So my first guest is Trina and her husband JD. It's actually JD. He was on season 1. He was our brave first male guest on To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. And he's going to come on. Oh no, now people are shuffling around. This is so fun. All right. How do I get you? Oh, all right, Trina and JD, I'm going to invite you to video. And then, oh wait, I think I can invite everyone at once. This is going to be one big learning curve, and we're all going to have a good time about it. It's JD and Trina!
Oh my God.
What's up?
Just like you came crashing into my life, you came crashing into my live stream.
Dude, that's what I do. I come crashing like a wrecking ball into people's lives.
That was perfect. I'm so glad I called on you guys first. So, JD was on an episode of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before where we talked about some of his former movie crushes. And then I would tell him, well, this is why people feel this way about women, because you had a movie crush and it was a shitty way to portray women. So give it up for JD. Trina's going to be on season 2. We recorded her episode and we're going to be talking about all the ways we felt after we were unemployed. Give it up for Trina and JD. All right. Let's see if I can do this next one smoothly. My next guest is one of my favorite people. These are all my favorite people in the entire world, but this is Annie. Annie recently redesigned my podcast logo, and she got to paint me in the nude, and she met me on TikTok. It's Annie Sieg, everybody. Give her a round of applause.
I love how you always slide the "she's painted me nude" in there.
What am I? How else am I supposed to introduce you?
I mean, it is my most important credit, and it's correct. That's
right. I mean, I met you on TikTok, and then I told my friends and none of my family. I met an artist on TikTok, and I sent her nudes so she would paint me. That's a thing that we do, right? And people were like, "No," but I did it, and it's framed in a gorgeous sequin frame in my bedroom, waiting to be hung on the wall. That's right. Cheer for Annie and all of her talent.
I think they're cheering for your nudity, but I'll take a cheers too.
I mean, like, cheer for nudity and for painting all around. Annie was on an episode of season 1 where we talked about art, our bodies being art, and body positivity, and I can't wait to continue this gorgeous friendship that we've insisted on just keeping and taking off of the internet. Yay for Annie. All right, Our last guest for the evening, drum roll please. There's not a drum roll sound effect, but there we go. We have Caitlin Grant, my spooky sister from all the way in Richmond. My sister from another mister. She talks to me all the time about scary movies. She is the host of Plug It Up, and Plug It Up is a podcast, which is my cup of tea, because it's all about female representation in the horror genre. So everyone clap for Caitlin.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, my lovely panel of guests, we're just going to keep it nice and simple. You've all done this before with me. We're going to run through the format of the show. So, we're going to start by tolerating something. I'll go first because I was reminded of something that I was tolerated just this afternoon while I was driving to lunch to meet a friend. I have parking lot anxiety. I don't know if anyone else has parking lot anxiety. Thank you. Thank you. And I was trying to get gas because I also have pumping gas anxiety. So I just don't do it until I'm running late somewhere. Usually to work, but today it was lunch. And this guy in some sort of like professional truck just cut me off and decided that he needed gas before I needed gas. And I was sitting there and I was like, God damn it. This is like the third time that a man has prioritized his needs and his time over me while I was just like sitting there minding my own business trying to thrive. I'm talking about that I've had guys call me in the middle of my day, like incessantly, and when I don't pick up, it's calling, it's texting, it's emailing me. And finally, when I do pick up, and I'm like, hello, I'm out living my life, they're yelling at me like, well, I need you to do this right here and then, and they have a feeling, and their feeling is more important than my time, so then I have to stop whatever I'm doing to cater to them. I'm talking about bosses just deciding that 12:35 is an appropriate time to call everyone on a Microsoft Teams call like I'm not at lunch. I am at lunch from 12 to 1. I will not be taking a call in the McDonald's parking lot. I've done it, but I won't do it twice. And this guy just cutting me off, I was like, God, I am so sick of just feeling like no matter what it is that I'm doing, planning, or trying to get accomplished during my day, someone is always telling me, no, my time is more important than yours. Anyone relate? You all can talk freely. You're nodding. Anyone can just go, hell yeah, Natalie. Or
hell yeah, Natalie.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, Natalie.
Hell yeah.
I feel like I'm struggling because as you talk, I start thinking that it's like I'm just listening to the podcast. And I don't feel like I'm supposed to participate.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you guys not talk back to me during the podcast? Because I talk back to people during their podcast. I'm like, yes, that's a good point. And then I continue making dinner. This is my making dinner motion because I don't cook. I don't do that. But I'm like,
it's like you're shoving something into something else.
I think it's supposed to be like a frying pan. It's like a frying pan. Like,
I thought it was like put the pizza rolls in the
in the air fryer. No, because pizza rolls go in the air fryer, so that's this motion. Thank goodness Fireside put me on video because now everyone just gets to see the hand motions that I do while we're recording. Does anyone else have something that they've been tolerating this week, this month, this year?
I do.
Go, Caitlin.
Natalie, you know, and I'll show behind me, I have a collection up there.
Oh, it's her Ouija board.
And I posted them. I'm very proud of them because I love to antique and I love all things spooky, hence the horror podcast. And I posted them and I was so proud. I posted them in a design Facebook group, like a interior decorating one for like alternative folks. And this guy commented, he was like, you know, I'm pretty sick of this whole like witchy trend of goth girls thinking that they're like mysterious and cool. And I was like, dude, fuck you. Like, I've been curating this collection with my mom like for years, antiquing and finding these really cool old antique Ouija boards. It's not a trend. And even if it was, who fucking cares? Like, do what you want. Don't criticize what people like. Like, screw you, dude.
The crystals in my bra are angry. They're just angry.
I'm glad you said the second part of that, where you're like, even if it was popular, who cares? Because that's such a good point, where people like diss anything that becomes popular, and it's like, so the problem with this is that it's so great, lots of people like it.
Like, let people enjoy it. Let people enjoy what they like.
It's gatekeeping at its most essential. It's like, oh, you can't come into this space because you haven't been here long enough. Like, the fuck off, dude. Let people like their stuff.
My friend Kelly says, fuck that guy. I don't know if she's talking about the Ouija board guy or the truck driver guy. I bet you she's just talking about all guys. She's just like, fuck the general. Well, JD, I mean, what did you expect when you came on the live show?
That's true. That's true.
I know, it's the same guys who, like, want to dog on us for loving Taylor Swift. Well, I'm sorry that she put poetry to music, and now I've felt something for the first 7 years. I'm sorry. So sorry. She went into the woods, and she, like, fucking wrote 2 albums, and then re-released 2 more, and, like, made a movie. What did you do this week? You didn't do anything, Mr. Ouija board hate man. That's what I would have asked him. I would have been like, what did you do this week? Because I made a design out of Ouija boards. So, does anyone else have anything that they've been tolerating?
I have something that I could bring up, but I don't know how successfully I've been tolerating it. I feel like I've been pretty intolerant of it. Which is, and I don't want to get anyone too, like, spiced up on this one because people have strong feelings, but in the world of art, the conversation around NFTs has become so exhausting and is fueled, it's not an exclusively male thing, but it's fueled by like this brand of crypto bros who are like so aggressively mansplainy, and if you say anything against NFTs, they're like riding into your comments to all caps scream at you about how you don't know things because you have a uterus. And I saw a creator on TikTok posted a thing the other day that blew my mind because it was so on point, where she pointed out that basically NFTs are a pyramid scheme MLM, but it's getting credit because it's male-based instead of female-based, but it's the exact same thing. And I'm really freaking tired of NFTs. That's my thing.
I like the one that was like, oh, so it's like Kohl's Cash? Like when a guy doing NFTs doing it.
Okay, so as you know, I 100% support you in the war against NFTs. I still don't understand what they are.
I don't either. I don't get them at all. Thank you.
I don't understand.
I have no idea what the fuck they are. I'm not going to pretend to.
I'm not going to do a full spiel about them, but I will just say my 2 cents for why they make me so angry. There's many reasons. They're terrible for the environment. There's a really toxic culture built around them. But honestly, even beyond all they're doing to like the devaluing of art and all of that, I know so many artists who have had their art stolen and put up for sale as NFTs without them even being aware of it or getting any profit off of it. There's just like rampant theft. It's bad for the environment. And honestly, I think most of the people who are even involved in the buying and making of NFTs don't entirely know what NFTs are. It seems scammy as all get out.
If anything is known for its acronym and not its real name, I'm like, scam. You are a scam. I don't, because it's mostly because I hate acronyms, because I can't keep track of what all of the letters mean.
Even if you de-acronym it, I need some of those NFT nerds to talk to me about what fungible actually means, because, girl, I don't think you know.
It just sounds like they're trying to tell us that Funyuns are delicious.
Which we already know.
We already know. All right, JD, this is your moment.
Okay.
Have you been tolerating anything?
Man, I'm usually just tolerated, so...
Trina, have you tolerated anything from JD?
He said it pretty well.
All right, then I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to open it up to the audience because this is all about audience participation. You can type it and I'll read it, or you can request to be a speaker and I will add you. You do not have to be on camera. I might ask you if you want to be on camera because I only know one person who does it, 2 people who don't, in case both of them were getting anxiety, like, she better be talking about me. It's 2 of you. And I'll get a little notification that you want to talk. Is anyone tolerating something currently? It could be men. It could be dating. It could be your job. It could be capitalism. It could be a loss in faith of our government. Anything and everything. If you want to bitch about it, I am your platform. This is what the show is about. I get nervous with silence. All right, Katie.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hi,
okay.
Katie.
I was gonna type stuff, but I couldn't figure out where I was supposed to type things. I was like pressing buttons everywhere, and I was like, I don't know what any of this is.
That's fine. Now we all get to hear your lovely voice.
Oh, I guess that's fine. You can't see me on camera though, because I haven't washed my hair in days.
Okay. I only wash my hair 2 times a week. How long are we supposed to be washing our hair?
I actually think it is supposed to be not that often, but it just looks atrocious, so.
I'd like all the young people to know this, that I dabbed. All right, Katie, what is it that you have been tolerating?
The knowledge that I think at the age of 32, still in a pandemic, if I really want to meet somebody, I'm gonna have to get back on a dating app, and it's just horrifying.
I refuse.
Same.
Well,
same,
I'll tell you, I
time.
have been on Tinder, I think, 26 times, because I'll get on it when I'm really sad and drunk on margaritas, and I'm like, I just want to meet somebody, so I'll get on for a day, and then when I sober up, I gain clarity, and I delete it. But that just happens so often because somebody, and inevitably, the reason I delete it is because somebody is being awful.
Yeah. That's 100% why we all delete it or ignore it or bury it in our phone. Caitlin, did you say that you were going to say something encouraging about dating apps? Because I just refuse. I just refuse.
No, not encouraging. I'm 32 as well, and I would like to meet someone, but I'm a larger bodied woman, so being in any space with a lot of I'm not straight, but I do date straight dudes sometimes, and a lot of straight dudes are super fat phobic, I'm finding. So the dating scene is rough.
Who was watching Love is Blind season 2, where the Shake guy got the most beautiful girl on the season, and he asked her, would I have an easy time with you being on my shoulders? And I was like, fuck you,
oh
dude.
My god.
They know what you're asking. They know. That's not what the show's about. I mean, I was on a failed version of Love is Blind, and we're not going into it tonight. We will. But yeah.
Why are we not going into that tonight?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Annie and Katie, are you new to my Love is Blind struggles?
Yeah, I've never heard about this.
Okay, well, I'll send you the episodes. I mean, I think it's dating in a pandemic. That one.
Oh, okay.
It's about my failed Love is Blind.
You have so many episodes. When I went on to listen, before we recorded mine, I was like, oh god, I don't have time to listen to all these, so I had to pick and choose. And of course, I missed that one, so I'll have to go back.
I'm such a podcast junkie, and I've really been struggling since I no longer have a job to go to. I work, but I work from home, and podcasts are my transitional entertainment, and I transition around a lot less now. So I still listen to the pod, but it's hard for me to keep up with all of my lovely podcasters I love because I have nowhere to go.
Right. The long and the short of it is that I was on a Zoom web series dating show that mimicked Love is Blind, and it never aired, and now I'll never be on The Bachelor, and I'll never be on The Bachelorette, and I'll never get to make out with 20 dudes in a hot tub. So it's hurtful. It's hurtful, and we're not talking about it tonight. Katie, I'm going to release you from the stage. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All right.
I would just like to say, as a friend of yours, maybe you won't be on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, but you don't know for sure you won't make out 20 dudes in a hot tub. I might be able to make that happen.
That's why I keep you around. That is why. Oh, Stephanie, my very best friend in the entire world, said the real tragedy is that we never got to see it, but at least you have the story. Sad cry eyes. Thank you, Stephanie. All right. Let's move on to the second portion of our show, which is where we learn or we talk about in a very vulnerable manner how we've grown recently. So I'm going to get very oversharey because I'm the host and it's my podcast. And I had a meltdown in therapy on Tuesday. I had a meltdown. And it was a meltdown of epic proportions because I was trying to tell my therapist that I was proud of myself. I was proud of this live stream show. I was proud of all of the planning that I had done for the podcast. And then she had the nerve to ask me, if you are so proud of yourself, why do you look so sad? Because the year is 2022. That's why I look so sad. This is how I look now. But I had a meltdown. And through that meltdown, I was able to come to terms that it's not only having a podcast about the way that I've been treated as a woman in society or being very vulnerable and honest with Team Tolerator about how I have been treated by people in my life. I have to actually say the words. So she made me continue to say yes over and over again. She'd be like, but do you realize that that's abuse? And then you have to grapple with it. You're like, oh, I'm an abused person. And then she's like, yes, now say it again. And I was like, yeah, it was abuse. And then eventually we got to the point where we also talk about how I was abused, but I was not abused out of anything that I did. So now my next growth moment is getting to let go of all of that responsibility I feel about the patterns that I keep putting myself into. We started with the generational trauma episode. I believe that's what also kind of spurred my meltdown because now it's just always in my head. Not only are you traumatized, but you've been traumatized for generations that you weren't even a part of. But, so yeah, that was my growth moment. I can admit to myself and to my therapist that I am in fact a person who has been abused. Anyone else have a growth moment from recently? That's okay. You don't have to grow.
I can grow.
Annie grew.
Mine is not as pinpointed to a specific moment in time as you having this breakthrough session. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately and trying to work on with myself. Which is I'm a person who for my entire life has had a very hard time with the concept that sometimes I'm wrong about things. I'm a very stubborn kind of person and there are things that don't matter to me, but the things that do matter, I feel very solid in my conviction about. And the more I put myself out on online platforms, the more people are rushing to tell me all the things that I'm wrong about all the time. And sometimes those opinions are valid, sometimes less so. That's part of what you have to kind of cull through with the internet. But something that I've been working on that little by little I feel like I'm improving at is in those moments where I have that gut reaction where someone tells me I'm wrong about something and I want to be hurt and offended and traumatized by the whole experience, recognizing that all of us have said and done things that were wrong at various points, and that if you don't start acknowledging that that's at least a possibility, you cannot grow. So I guess my growth is that I now will be able to maybe grow.
I am taking a step towards growing. Are you trying to tell me that I've been wrong?
Hey, I'm not trying to force this growth upon you. This is merely my journey that I
Did you come onto my show where I announced to the audience that I am Tinkerbell and without accolades and applauding, I will die. And then you go, hey, everyone's wrong.
I said I'm wrong. Who knows? Maybe you've always been right. Maybe that's something you could also examine. Who knows? Who am I to say? I could be wrong.
We'll do an Instagram poll. Can you recall a time that Natalie was ever wrong ever? And there will be 100% no votes in that poll. I guarantee it. And it's mostly because a lot of my family and all of my exes don't listen to the show or follow me on Instagram. So there it is. Has anyone else had it? Also, Annie took a big leap this week and she started her own YouTube channel. So that is also a growth moment.
Thank you.
She's trying to provide free arts education to people like me who just take oil pastels and make marks and go, hey, I know how to use these now. She's trying to teach me vocabulary.
It's true. given that you set this plug up, I will follow it through and just say, if you're a person who either had a bad arts education experience, which sadly a lot of people do, or didn't get a chance to pursue much arts education because of schedule or finances or any other variety of reasons that stand in people's way, I'm putting up videos on like an almost daily basis, at this point kind of daily, that go into color theory, composition, introducing different materials, and I'll be nice.
All right. So JD or Caitlin, growth moments from recently, or a growth moment that left?
I've had kind of a growth moment.
Go.
So, you know me from the podcasts that I've been involved in. You've been on both of them. We've had some personal issues, family issues, a lot of things going, just a lot of shit going on. And I made a really tough decision to kind of step away from like doing the podcast because I think that was only adding to the issues just because it was taking up so much of my time. So just kind of did that to focus more on
family.
Yeah. For the time being, I'm not giving up podcasting. I'll be back, but
no, because you are one of my rotating guest co-hosts, so you have to come back to the world of podcasting. But
I've already got plans. I just don't know when it'll be. I told you about a little bit of them.
I know. I'm very excited, and I always think that it's a true sign of maturity when you can look at something that you really want to be doing and kind of like tell yourself, this is what I want, but I don't want it right now, and take a step back from it. I can think of countless things, most of the men that I was sleeping with, that I just continue to endure once it no longer made sense in my life. And I was like, oh, but it's something I want, but I didn't want it right then and there. So that's a big move. That's a big growth moment, to be able to take the things that we've worked hard for and kind of take a step back from it. Because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's like a baby.
Is. Yeah.
All right, Caitlin, before I open it up to the audience,
Yeah.
what can I be proud of you of?
Most of mine has been not overcoming yet, but confronting some imposter syndrome, which I think all of us deal with in some capacity or another. I've been working really hard on both my horror podcast, Plug It Up, and then Bloody Good Horror, which I'm now co-host of. And I've been working really hard, but sometimes I just feel like, why am I here? Why would people want to listen to me? And I got the really awesome opportunity to get a couple screeners for new movies that'll be coming out in a couple weeks. And I just was like, are they sure? Do they want to send it to me so that I could review it? And I also got the opportunity to interview some of the directors. And before I get on those Zoom calls, I'm always like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? I don't need to be here. Like, I'm the wrong person. They got this wrong. But then, after I do it, I end up having such a good time. And then I'm like, oh, no, I'm allowed to be here. This is good.
That's right. I can take up space in this community. I get nervous every time I have a new guest. I get nervous every time I send a welcome email, a little reminder that we're recording. I always feel like I'm doing too much to prove to them that like they're going to be on my podcast and have a really good time. And I too have to like walk that gross imposter syndrome balance where it's like, am I being cute? Am I being annoying? Am I being cute? Am I being
I can vouch for it. You come off as very professional with that. Like it's very appreciated.
Thank you. I'm a Capricorn. So last week I had one of my dream podcast hosts record, Delaney Fisher from the Self-Helpless podcast. And on Sunday, why thank you, I'm having Remy Casimir from the How Come podcast, another one of my favorite podcasts. She's going to be recording with me. And every day I'm just waiting for one of them to cancel, or for like Delaney to email me and be like, don't actually use that. I did not have a good time. And it never happens. It never happens. No one ever yells at me. No one ever cancels on me, anything like that. But it's that like, so often I think we're told to take all of our creativity and just make it fit a mold to make the rest of the world comfortable. And it's just really hard to be pushing those boundaries. So yeah, Caitlin, you get to be on all of the horror podcasts. I'll turn this podcast into a horror podcast if you want. It kind of is.
Stories are horrific. So.
Right. It kind of is. My dating life has been horrific. That is a great word for it. All right, audience members, I've been proud of my panel of guests, but now I'd love to be proud of you. Can someone please share a growth moment that they've had recently? You can type it if you don't want me to gush on you while you're on camera or on microphone. I just love the cling of the silence. Like, no, we don't want to be told that we're great. People don't want to be told that they're great. Oh, Katie's going to come on again.
I told you I would be here for you and I would participate, so I guess we'll talk about it.
For people who haven't listened to Katie's episode yet, Katie is one of my sister's best friends from college, and I just like adopted her as a third or fourth sister. So I get to be like the older sister who's just like looking at her like, don't you want me to be successul? Don't you want it?
And I know how you feel, so I'm like, damn it, I have to. I feel like I've had a lot of growth moments that I don't particularly care for over the past, I don't know, like 6, 7, 8 months, whatever, when, because I started self-publishing romance novels and indie stuff, as I'm sure, I feel like all of you probably know as like indie creators, is so hard to really get started, and it can be really discouraging, I guess, especially when you're just sitting alone with your own thoughts. And I know you guys were just talking about imposter syndrome, and I know I feel that a lot. So I feel like it's just been kind of a roller coaster of like one day I have a great moment, and then like the next day I feel like garbage again. So it's just this continuous thing, and I don't know when I'm ever going to be at like a stable point where I'm like, no, this is good, and it's going to keep being good. I'm not there yet, but like I feel like part of just growth and getting through this stuff is acknowledging that you need to. And I've been doing that a lot more lately, and just kind of like reminding myself of the good stuff I've done, and just taking moments to remind myself of like the little steps I've taken, and like looking back and seeing how far I've come from where I started. Yeah.
As a person who's never struggled with patience a day in their life, I did have a meltdown during my last therapy session because not only was I just sad, but I wake up every day still mad that I have to go to a day job when I've worked so hard on my creative passion.
Yes.
So I understand the need to acknowledge all of the baby steps that you take to make your passion happen. And I'm also going to suggest following Caitlin, Annie, and Trina and JD on Instagram because they're my hype team. They are. Like, anytime I'm like, I don't know, do you think the live show is going to be good? They're like, fuck yeah, why wouldn't it be good? And I'm like, well, because I haven't done it before. And they're like, you'll do it, and then it'll be done, and it'll be good. Annie doesn't let me feel bad about myself. Caitlin, like, cuts me off when I try to feel bad about myself. I don't even think I try to feel bad about myself with JD. I think one time
we're just like obnoxious positivity. It's fucking awesome.
So I encourage you to like also, now I'm just giving advice like it's that old-timey newspaper that I can't think of, Dear Sally or whatever.
Ask Annie.
Ask Annie. Yeah, it's you, Annie. I suggest finding non-toxic author friends, like I found non-toxic podcasting friends. And then when you are forgetting all of the work that you did, they can be like, okay, but do you remember that like writing the first draft took 15 years and then you published it within 1 year, even though it was like 15 years worth of work? It helps. It helps to have outside views of your projects.
Yeah. I'm bad at making friends. I'm shy.
I'll be your friend.
Annie will be your friend.
I'm going to follow you all on Instagram now, per Natalie's instructions.
That's right. And that's what we're doing here on To All the Men I've Tolerated Before. We're just making people that I like meet other people that I like. All right, Katie, I'm proud of you. I am proud of you for publishing your first book. That's a fucking undertaking. I haven't published my first book, and I have countless Word documents filled with ideas for books. And
amen, sister. So many.
One of them is a poetry book, and poems are short. And you just haven't done it. So I'm going to let you be off the stage now, but
Okay.
I want you to know that as I'm kicking you off the stage is with the love and pride that you're in my life.
Oh, God. Get me out of here.
All right. The final tradition on To All the Men I've Tolerated Before, and Penelope the cat is currently in my lap because I'm witchy and she's witchy too, and as a familiar, she has to be here for the magic part, and it is the manifesting. So this is where we always make sure to take a time to put into the collective energy some positive well wishes that we want. Sometimes I tailor them around the men who are the episode is about, and then sometimes I'm just pissed off at them, so I make it about me or the universe or the cat. So I think my biggest manifestation as I listen to all of the people who have shared is I want more people in my life and within my energy field who know that they can do fucking anything. And I want them to wake up every day proud of everything that they've accomplished. And I want us to kind of wake up every day knowing that life is hard and not everything lends itself to celebrating yourself. But I want everyone to find one way to celebrate something that they've accomplished every day. Or to reach out to me on Instagram and I'll tell you why we're celebrating something you've accomplished. It can be done. Does anyone have a positive message they would like to share?
I feel like I'm that kid in class who can't stand silence, so I like volunteer all the answers, even if I don't know.
That's me.
That's always who I was, so it makes sense that has not gone away. I was thinking about this because I knew this was one of the things you were going to ask, and the only thing that comes to mind today is lately the news has like ruined my morning routine. I like to wake up and sit in bed with some coffee with like my cat and my dog and watch the news and regain consciousness. And for a while now, that process has been just like start your day with a panic attack.
Oh no.
And so I'm manifesting. I don't expect the news to be perfect, but I would just love if like universally we could all act a little better so my morning coffee doesn't stress me out.
I love that. I stopped watching the news when Chelsea Lately went off the air because Chelsea Lately was how I got my news. So once Chelsea Handler stopped giving it to me in a comedic fashion, I'm informed, but I'm also wildly uninformed. So I'm proud of you for even trying to watch the news is what I'm saying.
I watch a lot of it, but it gives me lots of feelings.
Have you tried morning talk shows? Because I feel like they just
not
cover
news, Natalie.
Okay. I feel like sometimes they tell us something that's worth it. I don't know. Look at me just being like, don't watch the news. Why should we be?
I used to balance it out by I would watch some valid news and then I would read some like celebrity gossip. But then like that's gotten pretty dark. Like Kanye's stressing me out. Everyone just be cool for a little while, please.
If everyone could just stop making eye contact with Kanye, I think it would help. I think it would help. Like, you know that kid who just acts out because they know that people are watching? Like, I just feel like if we all stopped making eye contact with Kanye, and if, like, Pete Davidson blocked Kanye on his phone, maybe he would just get, like, he'd Tucker himself out. He'd just Tucker himself out. He'd, like, just, like, roll around in the yard and then, like, take a nap, and maybe it would help. Or maybe Kanye and Kim getting the love and the support that they need and medical attention that they may or may not need, and the society as a whole not taking their horrendous family situation and making it memes could also help. But maybe if we just stop looking at them first. Maybe. Does anyone else have a manifestation?
I'd like to manifest some self-worth for me and for everybody. I really struggle with self-worth. I would like to eventually get to self-love, but just getting like a baseline self-worth is what I'm working on in therapy right now. I had a very toxic previous relationship where I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't sexual enough, I wasn't, anything enough. And I think that has stuck with me more than I realized. So finding my self-worth and like letting myself be proud of something I've done, letting myself rest when I feel tired, and just letting myself feel like enough is what I want, and I want that for everyone else too.
Everyone fuck that guy, because now I'm mad. Because, again, you're on my live stream because you're one of the coolest people that I know, so how dare he use the term not enough when you have always been exactly what I needed every day since I've met you. Since I turned on Plug It Up. Exactly what I needed.
Oh.
So, fuck that guy, I'm mad.
Same.
Yeah, I'm just mad. Annie, Kelly had a comment for you and I lost it, but it was basically that you are correct. Kelly is a news junkie too, and I believe the third sentence was that the news makes Kelly sad. I don't know.
It's really hard because it took like a long time in my life to develop into an adult enough person to actually pay attention to current events. For so long, I was just like blissfully unaware of anything happening around me. And I put in work to care about the news, and now I feel betrayed by the news. It's so dark.
I feel betrayed by everyone who is on the news. Just everyone. If you were on the news today, I'm betrayed. Just betrayed. All right,
Unless
JD.
it's because you like saved someone from a burning building or
right,
something.
okay, like, yeah.
Cool.
If you were Kyle Chandler, Hottie with the Body, Coach Taylor, and you got the early edition. Does anyone remember this show? I believe it's a show that I made up. But Kyle Chandler used to get the early pick. He got it the day before, and then he would go and rescue puppies and put out fires and things because he knew that they were going to happen because they were in tomorrow's paper today. So unless you're Kyle Chandler and you're like rescuing orphans from truck explosions, get out of my news. You're pissing me off and bumming me out. More Kyle Chandler is basically what I'm manifesting.
It's a good manifestation.
I mean, all right, JD, what about you?
All right, I'm going to piggyback off Annie a little bit here because I that's part of my routine too. But I'm in this like kind of weird like, I don't know if I'm numb to it or if I'm just like, I'll just be watching all the news and like, there's a line from a movie where it's a future dystopian thing like Wasteland and all that shit, post-apocalypse, and Iggy Pop plays a radio DJ. As for the good news, there is no fucking good news, and that's how I feel every morning. But it's like I'm also kind of like just like watching, just like typical, just typical. So I guess like. I would like to get to a point where, like, when we're on the brink of World War III, it seems like a bigger deal than it is because it just at this point it's just like fucking just whatever. I'm like legitimately not gonna be surprised if I see a mushroom cloud. So if we can get to a point where just the world is less fucking whatever it is, man.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that like I don't even have energy to be upset or sad or mad about it anymore because now it's just the dystopian novel that the fates have chosen me to live in. And I was really hoping for Brave New World because they at least got a cool pill and like fun feelsies like movie theaters, but instead we got this. It's like I don't even know how to classify our dystopian novel. Does anyone have an idea? Which dystopian novel are we?
I don't know, but I heard that they actually have been having trouble teaching A Brave New World recently in schools exactly for that reason, because young people are like, yeah, that doesn't sound so bad. How is this dystopian? It's like...
I feel like it's similar to 1984. I think that's the closest one that we've got so far.
Yes, there we go. It's 1984. I love A Brave New World. I had to read it in high school and I had to read it in college. So maybe I read it 1.5 times. But I love A Brave New World. And I believe that it was supposed to be making a point about, you know, trying to detach ourselves from everything. But my God, detaching would be really helpful in 2022. Because I was
at the point where I was like, put my brain like in a computer. I don't even care anymore.
Make me robot.
Yeah, make me like a cool robot. It'll be good.
I would like to be a Terminator. All right, audience, now it's your turn. You've heard all of the ways we would like the universe around us to change or better itself. Is there a way that we could help you manifest what you would like out of your day, week, year, or what you want out of the universe? Don't make me do the Jeopardy music, because what if they sue? None of you feel good enough to Now I'm shaming people. I'm just going to stop. That's fine. If you want to manifest, you can always type it in the chat. Does anyone have any questions for Team Tolerator? Anything that you wonder about podcasting, our podcast, Annie's art career, and being a YouTube sensation, anything like that before I go to the Instagram questions. You showed up, so you get to be the first ones to ask a question. All right, we'll go to the Instagram questions. This was one that I came up with for all of the guests, so I will fully let you in behind the curtain and let you know that I came up with this one. Can each one of you, because I love compliments, tell me why you felt like you wanted to be on Team Tolerator? What about the show or myself spoke to you as people who are living in this world? Oh, I love the thoughtful pondering.
You're like one of my best friends, like in podcasting. So, like, dude, it was just like you've been supportive of me. I've been supportive of you. Like, we've been like kind of like growing together a little bit, and it's just, yeah, dude. Pod tribe.
JD and I found each other on Facebook. That's how I make all my friends now, is on the internet. So, and that's also you. You, like, for one thing, to put aside all of the shit that I talk about, there are a lot of people who, in your shoes, would listen to one of my episodes and go, well, fuck that lady. How dare she complain about how anyone would treat her? And instead, you leaned all the way in and you said, you're hilarious. I would also like to complain about the way women are treated with you.
Hell yeah, dude.
Thank you.
Natalie, mine's pretty similar. It comes down to you and the person that you are. Just very welcoming and supportive. And I think we found each other on Instagram initially, and it was in like a feminist podcast hashtag, or like a women lifting each other up type hashtag, which sometimes gets overrun with like MLM boss babes, but the true ones are out there, and you're a true one. And you've become one of my best friends, and I love the work that you do. And the show is funny as hell. Like, you're doing good work. So,
Caitlin, do I get to be transparent about how I found you and like stalked you out? I was told by one of our audience members' moms that you were starting a podcast. And then I followed said podcast on Apple Podcasts and on Instagram. And then I went, that's a point of view that I need on my show, because I love bitching about how media treats women. I am a huge fan of the Bechdel cast.
Awesome. I love that.
I love that. I love that podcasting has brought us together. All right, Annie, why would you join me in the wild world?
You dropped like an octave. You were like,
did I?
All right, Annie.
All right, Annie. Because I'm just like, do you know how hard it is for me to take compliments? People really think that I like literally do this all day long. But like, it's like, I'll go home. I'm home. I'm going to go 10 feet into the bedroom and cry about it later. So why would you join me in the wild world of podcasting?
I think my answer is twofold. The first is that since the pandemic, like a lot of people, I have been much more online than I ever was before this. And I never really understood the idea of like online friends. I was like, that's weird. They're not your real friends. And the more time I've spent on, Instagram and TikTok and now YouTube, the more I've gotten to see that you can really make true personal connections with people. And I think as a result of the fact that you have this very like powerful personality, like you are very thoroughly you, and you're social and you're kind and you're interactive. You were one of the first people that didn't feel like a robot I was talking to. You felt like a person I could be friends with. So that's the first part. Just like everybody said, you're great. So of course we want to support you. And then I think the other thing that I've just become increasingly aware of with every year of my life is that the patriarchal systems that are cooked into this country are bad for every single person. They are bad for straight men. They are bad for women. They are bad for the entire alphabet mafia. They are bad for people who are disabled. They are bad for people of color. Like, patriarchal systems straight up suck across the board, and it sucks in different ways and to different degrees depending on who you are. But it's bad. And so the more opportunities we have to kind of call attention to that and give voice to that, I think the better. So you are awesome, and what you're doing is awesome.
Thank you. I'm so glad that the intense way that I will slide into people's DMs, comments, or otherwise is appreciated by this group. Because, like, it's almost like, so the World Wide Web has almost become our bar scene. Katie brought up online dating. Like, this is how we meet people now. So when I slide into a person's DMs or, like, comment on someone's video like, hey, that was really cool, that's something I'm on board with, I'm 100% in on you, it is like a point of vulnerability, and it's like approaching people at a bar now. It's like sliding up into the bar and be like, hey, you look like you'd be fun to dance with. Luckily, all of you are very fun to dance with in this wild thing that we call life. So thank you so much for being on my team. Hold on, there's a little comment. Oh, this one's from Sammy. For those that don't get to know the pleasure... Gosh, Sammy. For those that don't get to know the pleasure of being in real life pals with Nat, I can confirm that she is just as amazing and kind in everyday life. Okay, Sammy. Yeah. Thank you, Sammy. I'll cry about that later. So I'm gonna make this question that I got off of Instagram relatable to all of us. What makes you the most nervous about releasing episodes or work onto the World Wide Web?
I will say my mom listens to everything that I do, which is amazing. But every once in a while, I'll tell a story, and I'm like, yikes! I don't know. But she's always been so supportive. But I get into a headspace where I'm like, I record the episode, I edit the episode, I schedule it to be released, and I'm like, well, that never happened, I guess. I don't have to worry about it ever again. So in my head, I just take a break where I'm like, okay, it's done, and move forward.
I will say that one of my greatest fears is that one day I will get a call from a family member and I will not be prepared for what episode that family member stumbled onto. However, I did tell my cousin's new wife, of course, listen to my podcast. And so at this point, I would have just walked right into the fire willingly. However, I do label the podcast episodes so they know exactly what they're getting into if they click that one. There are ones that are family friendly, and then there are ones where I'm like, you clicked on that one on purpose, and now you want to yell at me. All right, JD and Annie, is there anything particularly hard about releasing new art or work into the Ethernet?
I guess since I haven't been doing podcasts as much, because I don't really have that with podcasts anymore. Like, as far as dropping that content, I don't really get nervous. But like, I have started doing more like TikTok stuff, and for some reason, the shorter form, I don't know why, it just like it weirds me out more than the longer format for some reason, and I don't know why.
I get time panicky.
Yeah.
I feel like I have so much to say, and 30 seconds isn't enough to say it, and then TikTok really wants you to do that in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So I have the opposite problem, which is I really honed my interneting skills on TikTok. So brevity is my thing. I love it. I know you probably don't get that by my babbling on this podcast, but normally I'm quite concise. And now that I'm moving to YouTube, I'm trying to get up my watch hours. And so I'm intentionally trying to make longer videos, and I'll talk and be like, I nailed it, and then look at it and it was 7 minutes. I'm like, oh, this is not working. But I think my bigger stress, because that will get easier with time, just comes from what I was talking about earlier, where I don't like the feeling of being called out on being wrong about things. And the internet is so into that. And a lot of times it's things that you can't avoid. It's just people having different opinions and being mad at you. But I find a lot of times I'll become preface happy because of it. I'll be trying to make a video and I hear the comments preemptively in my head. So I'll be like, today I'm going to show you a technique that I use in my sketchbook, but you don't have to use it if you don't like it. And I don't always use it. And this is just one way of doing it. But if you don't like it, that's okay. We're going to start with this product. You don't have to use this brand if you don't like it. It just becomes incoherent.
Yeah. It's best done with a pencil, but if you've got a pen, that's fine too. Or a crayon. Who am I to tell you what to buy? I don't know.
No matter how carefully I do all those prefaces, inevitably there's still someone in the comments being like, but what if you don't have hands? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know.
All right. We have come to the end. I have to let you go, even though spending hours of my life with you is all I ever want to do. So quickly, we'll go Caitlin, Annie, JD, because that's the order on the screen. Tell everyone who you are, what your work is, and how to find you. Caitlin,
I'm Caitlin Grant. I'm a horror podcaster. I have a day job too, but horror podcasting is what I wish my day job was. Plug It Up is my podcast. It's about the monstrous feminine. So monstrous motherhood. We did monstrous menstruation, femme fatales, women who are horrific, women battling horrors, final girls, all the good stuff. I'm also on Bloody Good Horror, and I'm also on a podcast called Films at First Sight. And you can find me at Plug It Up Pod on Instagram and Twitter.
Annie, Brad.
My name is Annie Sieg. I am a full-time artist, illustrator, and graphic designer. And my social media stuff, if you want to come find me there, on Instagram, I'm AKSIEG. On everything else, I'm Annie Makes Art. And I just started Annie Makes Art School on YouTube and would love for everyone to come learn art stuff with me.
JD.
JD Ross. You can find both my podcasts. They're still available. Going Hollywood. We're not making new episodes with that, but that is all still available on all the sites. And Traversing the Stars is still going with my partner. So you can check that out. There's a lot of cool interviews and stuff like that. I'm mostly on TikTok and Instagram. You can find me at Dudist Weirdo. I'm making a lot of weird, goofy shit. So if you like weird, goofy shit, come check me out.
All right, if you have it in you, can you guys hit the clapping emoji one more time for Team Tolerator? They are, without a doubt, the only reason I am successful, the only reason that I ever feel good about the work that I am doing, and the only reason that I wake up every day excited to do it. Anyone and everyone on Team Tolerator, including everyone who showed up today, you are now in Team Tolerator. You can find us at Men I've Tolerated Before on Instagram. It's Men I've Tolerated Before Pod. I just screwed up my own handle. And we release episodes anywhere you find a podcast on Thursdays. And we're going to be here on Fireside every other Monday. So you can start interacting with me, my guests, and our content. Kelly says that this was wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, Kelly. I cannot wait until we are in the same zip code. Thank you. Oh, Caitlin ended the show with a cat. It's anything and everything I've ever wanted.
I just heard that Penelope was here, so he had to come here.
Penelope went ahead and went out once people started complimenting me. She's like, this is weird. She just like noped on out. All right. I love everyone. I love my panel. I love Team Tolerator. Keep manifesting. Don't smile through anything you're tolerating. This has been the first episode of To All the Men I've Tolerated Before Live. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.